Hi, I'm Linda K. Gifford, and I know my Wi-Fi takes a minute to catch up, so sorry it's a little choppy. So, I'm just gonna babble for a moment until my words are matching up with my actual speech patterns, and then we'll go live on Restream. But hey, TikTok, if I get to 10,000 followers, then I can put everybody on my Restream, send it all at once feed, and that would be exceptional. Exceptional, because the quality would be way better, and I wouldn't be rocking two cameras, which is really not fun. So, and I pay Restream, so, but 10,000, that's a lot of followers, and I don't know where, I don't really watch that stuff. It's like, where are we at, 25? 2,400, 2,500, something like that. Thank you for that. I'm just a CSA survivor myself. I became a neurolinguistic practitioner over the writing of my book. So now that I think we're all matched up, I'm going to start again and go live on Restream, which is Facebook and YouTube and X and all that jazz. So hello Restream. Thank you, Restream. I love Restream. Linda K. Gifford. Sorry to repeat TikTok. I've got TikTok over here. I've got everybody else over here. So pardon the rocking two cameras too. Today we are talking about the E in spades. And the E in spades is so important. But I'm going to set it up. Educate and advocate. First off, that's the E in spades. Educate and advocate. But I want to set up with the whole what spades means. It's just 12 steps is too much for anybody. Nobody needs 12 steps to learn or conquer anything. Nor should you be, in my opinion, putting your everything in an outside force that you have to tap into, because I believe that you create that force. I believe that the God force is within you, but that's a whole nother thing. It ties in with educating and advocating. And where I'm going with this is we start with the shame is not yours, the first S. We talk at length about that. We can spend a full week on it and have every day, or we can cram it all into a few minute talk. But realizing the shame is not yours, and how I have dozens of videos breaking this down to really nitty-gritty levels, from the boardroom to the bedroom. So you can access the video library on YouTube, of course, at any time, with all of that jazz. Will be in the Survive in Spades playlist. And the one that says current actually isn't current. I need to go in and bump the word current off. I just noticed that. It was the old one that was current when it was current. Now there's a new one that is current, and the old one says current. See how professional we are here. But the E in spades is vitally important, and I give pause to remember exactly what it was my sister said to me. She says I'm a victim. I'll always be a victim because I do this. Because I insist on publishing my book, which is on pre-order on Amazon now, Self-Talk, My Continuing Efforts to Survive Childhood Sexual Grooming and Assault. And there's an associated workshop, Survive in Spades, which is what we're doing. So we started with S, shame is not yours. P, separating the past from the present. This deals with dissociation. You think I would have made that the D, but I needed D for don't wait to feel okay to be okay. And I separating the past from the present. I had to go there, and P, so it makes sense. S, shame is not yours. P, separate the past from the present. And we work at length on that too. That is very intense, knowing what the rabbit hole is and that you do it. And also realizing where you draw lines and don't experience true intimacy. On a sexual level, something cPTSD, who are specifically childhood sexual assault related complex PTSD survivors, don't even know that they are shutting down at the first feelings of sexual intimacy, and they're living real relationships with people they really want to be with, but not experiencing the ultimate. They tend to end up giving and not receiving, because receiving isn't a thing, especially for any women, but especially for a childhood sexual assault survivor, because when your body felt those things, you felt shame and guilt and terror and whatever the level of violation was. These are the things that are in your body memory. They're in your body memory. I'm going to get all neuro-linguistic practitioner-y on you. Now, I grew up with a lisp. I work very hard to correct it. I was that kid that had to, like, they take the special kids out of class, and we had to go to a whole other building to learn how to speak. So, pardon my not quite lisp, but I'm trying. Because, and I was even in J school. I was even in mass media, broadcast production, and I quit because I'm like, no one would ever hire me with this weird ass mouth. But turns out none of that really matters. Turns out the people I talk to could care less about that, because they want to know how to not be triggered every day, all day long. And SPADES works for me. I made up the acronym because I liked abundance. I liked the idea of abundance. So we were on separating the past from the present, P. Then the A, this is the review before we get to today's E. Ask for what you want. A, ask for what you want. Don't just take what's given in life. And this is something that is, I think men and women alike do this. I think women to a larger degree have gotten out of the habit, or not out of the habit, never learned to ask for what they want. We learned to measure ourselves by our reflection in somebody else's eyes. We learned, if you like me, then I'm good. If you're happy, then I'm good. If you climaxed, then I did a good job being your sexual partner. And on every level, you have to come around. You don't have to do anything. I recommend highly for your own life enjoyment and pleasure. I mean, now that I figured all this stuff out and removed from my life everything I don't want and everybody I couldn't deal with, I found my husband. He's amazing. Day in, day out, every day, amazing. It doesn't mean once in a while we haven't yelled something at each other. Only a couple times that I generally it was in an altar or something. But I'm saying, when you find the ability to actually interact intimately, and you are a childhood sexual assault survivor who never felt that before, well, you become me. You become a preacher. I'm like, my God, you need that thing. So you need to learn to ask for what you want, not just take what's given. Because when you are fully receiving, then you are able to fully give. Otherwise, you are, what I've said before, is a performance artist. So I spend whole hours and weeks on each one of these things and breaking it down. I'm not going to do that. Just trying to get to E. We were at A. D. Don't wait to feel okay to be okay. That was last week. You got to get out there and do it. Everyone's waiting to feel normal. Everyone's waiting to be healed. They're waiting for this medicine to work. They go to this doctor, and then that doctor, they talk about their cPTSD or their experience, and then they get drugs, and then that doesn't work, and then they get different drugs, or it doesn't work for long. It's just this never-ending train that you don't need. You don't need any of that. All you need to do is get a historical, anthropological, sociological reference. Learn. That's why we get to E. Educate and advocate. Yourself first. You educate yourself as to other people in the world who have had similar experiences. You join a support group if you need to. We've got multiple ones online. I've started Sweet Survivor. I really haven't done anything big with it, but everything's going to go big September 2nd, my birthday, because my book comes out. It's on pre-order, and the workshop officially launches, and these segments I've been recording are getting professionally edited and will start coming out on podcast while we simultaneously do live Those Nasty Women Talk podcasts. It's all kicking in, and it's all to make a difference in this world. It's all to educate and advocate. And I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for the opportunity, but I'm also proud of myself because I did it. I've lost family. I'm not proud of that, but I'm sad about it. I haven't gone for blood against my assaulter. I would sue him if I could, but there's a statute of limitations still needs to lift in the state of Missouri. And when it does, yes, I will sue him. But I'm not consumed by hate. I'm consumed by the knowledge of what it did to me as a person, and not having healthy relationships for so long and having to learn these things. And it's like, I want to fast track you. And this is the part where usually they say, so join my thing, and and if you pay $59 a month, you can be in the club and we'll all help each other. It's like, that's a bunch of BS. I said from the start, much to everybody's chagrin, from my publicist to other coaches, I'm like, I will never charge to help people overcome cPTSD. But I am begging for corporate sponsorships. I'll do that. In fact, along those lines, Regenerist, yes. I do not lie. I don't wear makeup. I haven't worn makeup in years. I lay out in the sun every day because I need the vitamin D, and I'm a sun lover. It just doesn't do anything, obviously. But from the waist up, Regenerist, and that's only because I can't afford from the waist down yet. And Lumiglotion, this stuff, L'Oreal Lumiglotion, it just throws the light. I'm old. I've got wrinkles. If you put on makeup, you look like you filled your face in with makeup. Yeah. You know, you're not kidding anybody. So you might as well just make what you've got sparkle a little bit. And that's why I like L'Oreal. So I didn't even mean to do a corporate sponsorship thing there, but that's coming. So we're making deals. Educating and advocating. I run these workshops because people need them, because it's helping people like me. There's nothing in it for me except propelling the message forward, except for being contacted by Joyce M. Short, who founded the Consent Awareness Network, and asking me to please advocate for consent awareness laws, consent change, consent legislation to be standardized. There's just is none. It's like up to the judge. And this is where we're going to cross from educate and advocate into Those Nasty Women Talk, my other podcast. I'm putting them both together again this week because I just can't talk about one without the other. And so rather than just talking about educating and advocating, I need to talk about doing so in the context of the world we actually live in. So that was the evergreen consent. Here comes, goddamn, what's going on in the news today. This comes, Those Nasty Women. Fuck this, fuck this, fuck this. They're taking away our rights. They've taken them away. Over 20 states now have banned abortion in just about any reasonable circumstance. And it's getting tighter all the time. The youth are going to end up voting for some third party that we all really like better, but we can't vote for if we have a goddamn clue, because then we're going to throw this election. I don't think people understand what's at stake. College campuses erupting. What's pissing me off about it is the way the news keeps talking about its pro-Palestinian factions against Zionist Israeli factions, and that's just not it. Yes, there are some very few Jewish Zionist people putting their tents up saying, please don't hurt us, and whatever, and they're okay to do that. But the majority, and everybody I know who's Jewish, and if I haven't talked to you, I hope I am speaking for you, and if I'm not, then we've got issues, agrees that genocide, yeah, they started it. That doesn't mean you can kill and starve and deny medical supplies to children. But you know what? Goddamn, the problem with this is, it does. They can do that. And they're doing it. So protesting is the only thing that can be done. I mean, some of my earliest memories, hands down, were my dad, he founded Everyday People at Mizzou in Columbia, Missouri. It was the Drug Counseling Center. He and his friend Mike McMillan co-founded it. And it still exists today, helping counseling students for free. And I was on his shoulders at Vietnam, yeah, I'm that old, at Vietnam rallies for years, and relentlessly. Him and Mom, I mean, I look at it more like I was a little kid, so I saw the festival aspect of it, and I was not understanding the bloodshed political aspect of it. But I do now. But I goddamn do now. And we have to, I'm going to wrap back in with Sweet Survivor, back in with Spades. We have to educate and advocate beyond our own home, beyond our own backyard. I mean, if you just want to make yourself feel better and use the Spades program to manage your triggers, cool, I guess. But my respect, my friendship, people I end up in enduring relationships with, are with people who take it to the level of, now I'm going to go change whatever part of the world I can, whatever I can do. So even with my weird mouth and lisp, I'm online doing this thing. Even after 7 years of being groomed and raped by multiple assailants, especially one, but also his cousin and whatever, I overcame that. I can speak without crying about it now. Yes, it pisses me off, but I'm not going to be a victim. And I started at the top, and I'll wrap up there probably, or get close to it, with my sister says I'm still a victim because I'm doing this. And what I want you to understand, and I want her to understand, because she's a blood relative who evidently hates me now. Well, she doesn't hate me. She sends me cards. After saying she never wants to speak to me again, she sent me 2 cards, but they never say, I'm sorry, and they never say, I want to speak to you again. They say, I wish you well in your life for your birthday and for Christmas. I'm like, I'm still at never speak to me again because you're writing this book, and I'm going to sue you if I'm in it, even after telling her adamantly, repeatedly, that she's not in the book. This kind of shit, it was worth it. Yeah, it was worth it. And I have great nieces and nephews whom I really don't know. I've seen them a couple of times in my life. I'm sorry that this is their grandfather. I'm supposed to feel bad that they're going to find out. And I'm like, well, then you shouldn't have behaved badly, as they say. If you didn't want to be talked about badly, then you should have kept your dick in your pants around a 12-year-old, maybe. Maybe. Seems to me. So educating and advocating. I usually just talk about it on the scope of, you know, childhood sexual assault, actual issues that have nothing to do with politics or anything. But right now, it's we're in a crisis. We're in a real rights stripping crisis. And what I can't stand is when I hear from people, oh, well, we've got it better than these people or that people, or when they say worse yet, when they're just talking about women who are completely controlled and disparaged against in other countries, and they're like, oh, it's their culture. Just leave them alone. It's their culture. It's like, anywhere in this world that someone is being disparaged against, it is my business. I make it my business. I want to make it my business. That's why I founded Sweet Survivor. That's why the action teams, the Sweet Hero action teams are forming. All that means is you're going to call, you're going to report, you're going to tell Thorn so they can get cyber intelligence, and your local, regional, federal law enforcement and militaries across countries are going to work together and bust sex traffickers and find child pornographers. You'd be shocked that you can't go to hardly any small town in America, much less a 10-block, literal 10-block radius, that there isn't a house that is full of trafficked girls and boys. Mostly girls, but also boys. And the fact that you don't think it exists, or you think it's unpleasant conversation, is not my problem. My problem is that it hurts me, and it triggers me, and I want it to stop, and I can't stand. I take pills from the doctor. I take Prozac for PTSD. And I take hydroxyzine for a serotonin boost when I go to sleep. I said, drugs bad. Well, yeah, I don't like it. I'm against antidepressants because they deaden you. But girls gotta sleep. And I can't stop thinking about people. My situation in a first world country of being groomed and sexually assaulted for years. It felt bad to me. But then, you know, I watched this story, I watched the reality of a girl who watched 14 family members macheted to death and only survived because she was rapeable. And then she managed to escape. Can you imagine escaping that, knowing if I don't get out, I'm macheted to death, and that's better than staying? No, I don't accept culture that trade people, children, daughters, for cows and goats. I don't accept it as culture. And I'm begging you not to either. So educate and advocate. That is, I keep cycling around to the top, and what my sister said, that I'm still a victim. It's like, you know what? This is how I'm not. If you ever expect that I or you are going to forget what happened to us, or think that that's a realistic expectation, or even a good idea, then you are wrong. What we need to do is change the future, not talk about the past. So please join Sweet Survivor. There's a $5 subscription. Nobody seems to care about yet, but I really need you to. And I will talk to you next week, where we go into the final letter of Spades, Spirit. And to give you an overview of Spirit, don't get scared. This isn't religion or not religion. This is understanding that a belief is just a thought you keep thinking, says Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, both same person. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. So, you have to take active control, pardon me, but you'd rather not see snot drip out of my nose than watch me blow it, right? Unless you're into that sort of thing. That's pretty weird, though. I know they have probably whole channels just for that. Just trying to see exactly where I want to go. Spirit manifestation means if you don't like something, if it doesn't fit, if it doesn't feel right, you remove it. You change it. Whether it's your partner, and first reference, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, make sure it's not you. There's a whole lot of going into before throwing out your partner, unless they're just an asshole, then by all means throw them out right away. And I talked all about that last week, I believe. But it's time to make a difference in the world, and it's time to make a difference in your own world, and it's time to experience true intimacy, and it's time to educate people and advocate for change. And if you don't, absolutely nothing will happen to you whatsoever. So, good day. If you do, you have my respect and my thanks. I will talk to you next Thursday. But shorts coming out soon. And then we've got a huge... I've got a break. My son's getting married in South Dakota at a destination wedding. And my book's coming out. And we have so many things happening that getting all of this edited to the actual podcast. So starting September 2nd, my birthday, we'll like run on time. There's a suggested time that I try to do this, but I run Sweet Survivor, I run the Sweet Hero Action Teams, and I run the Sweet Shopping Group, which is women, family, and community artisans. So please visit sweetsurvivor.com. And tell your story, at least to yourself, if nothing else. If nobody else, at least to yourself. Get out of denial. Do some CBT. I talk a lot about that. Look it up in my library. See you Thursday.